Hi guys, Tyler here, and today I'm bringing you a Dark Souls 2 commentary video. It's of the multiplayer footage, but I'm just going to refer to it as PvP, or player versus player as it's known in the community. First, I want to talk about what my build is like. Oh, before I even do that, I know that most of my subscribers are GTA fans, but I want to get into the Dark Souls 2 community, so that's something I want to do in my spare time, so just hold out for the GTA videos. We're definitely still making some, and mostly just waiting for the DLC to come out because that looks really cool. But when that comes out, I'm definitely going to be bringing videos for that. But today it's Dark Souls time. So first I want to talk to you about my build. This is a level 150 quality build. For those of you that don't know, that means I have at least, I guess it doesn't have to be 40 points in strength and dex, but that's my primary attack stat. So I think on this particular build I have 40 strength and 37 dex. I'm not too big of a dex fan because the scaling is just bad. Like, you're getting way less damage per stat point than you should be. I think it scales at only half the rate that strength does. I believe that's because they want you to use something like either poison or bleed to assist your dex weapons, but frankly I find bleed? Yeah, I don't really like bleed. It's too hard to pull off, and even if you do, it doesn't really do that much. I don't really think it's worth it. And actually, poison's pretty good, but to be honest, I just don't like to use it because I find that if you do poison someone, they usually just run off to heal, and I really don't like people healing. I really try not to heal in fights unless unless my opponent does it first. But as far as my build goes, it's, what did I say, level 150. I'm wearing the Mad Warrior armor, Alva helmet. I forget what the gauntlets are off the top of my head. I think they're drakekeeper gauntlets and the Elan Knight leggings. They're the Knights in the Iron Keep. And I'm using the Watch Dragon Parma shield, which is infused with magic, and at plus 10 it gets very good magic resistance. It's like 92% or something like that. And it has very high resistances in lightning and also in dark. I think its weakest defense is in dark though, so you don't want to block too many hexes with that, but you can still do it if you're in a tight spot and think dodging might be more risky. Now, as for weapons go for my build, I've switched off the swords a lot. At first I was solely using actually, at first I was using two black steel katanas, dual wielded in power stance, but I find I found I found that to not actually be that effective. Sorry for the mini stroke, but I don't really like dual wielding that much. At least power stance dual wielding. It's a lot of stamina consumption and a lot of. Wow, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm having strokes all over the place. But anyway, as I was saying, I find power stance to be a little underwhelming. That most times you'd get an opening hit and then try to follow it up with the two sword hits, and they were able to just roll out of the way. So I figured it's not worth the stamina consumption. So at this point I'm using a drakekeeper sword in the right hand, and I offhand a chaos blade or a berserker blade. I used to use the berserker blade a lot because, I mean, that took a lot of time to farm, so I really wanted to put that to good use, but I think the chaos blade has slightly better reach and comparable damage, so I figure the reach is more important, so I'm using that in my offhand instead. So in my right hand, Drakekeeper sword and a plus 10 dagger for those backstabs, guard breaks, and riposts. Like right here, you can see that. You get that huge critical damage with the dagger, so I definitely recommend that. In the left hand, Watch Dragon Parma, and the Chaos Blade, and a composite bow. Sometimes I put a parrying shield in there too. Like, I'll switch out the bow for the parrying shield, but to be honest, at this point in the game's life cycle, I find I have better luck doing setup parries than straight up predictive parrying. Now this is the second build I've made. My first build was originally level 150 and he was a quality build, but at that point in the game, I just was not very good with him, and I kept getting matched up with, the level 300 Havelcasters and things like that, and it just was too hard to fight them, so I ended up leveling him up and respecking him to a Hexer, at which point I had a Dark Claymore or a Dark Washing Pole, and I'd infuse it with Resonant, or not infuse, I'd buff it with Resonant Weapon, and fights would last like 3 hits, and that's just not fun. So I ended up respecking a couple times, tried different builds, tried Faith and all that, and I just don't really like that high level PvP, so I'm gonna stick with, on the second character, level 150. as I've said, I don't really like buffs. I just find that they end fights too quickly, and I don't think you grow as a player being able to end a fight in 3 hits, because it ends up just coming down to, if you trade hits with a person a couple times, you'll always come out on top if you're outputting superior damage. So I don't know, I like to try to improve myself by just using a standard longsword. I like being a knight character. And to be honest, I really find that this character works for me. Usually the drakekeeper sword is enough that I can do decent damage with it, as long as someone's not wearing full havels. In which case, if they were, I usually just go for the backstabs with the dagger. But I think the drakekeeper sword is really cool looking. I think it's all black, and I believe it has the same moveset as the broadsword. If my opponent is kind of turtly, or he's not, you know, if my R1 and R2 swings aren't enough to really catch him off guard, then I'll break out the Chaos Blade in the left hand and try to close the distance with that. I don't like to abuse that the katana lunge move, just because that's so overused. But I find it's good to try to keep at least one thing about your build secret in a fight, and then bust it out at the most opportune time to catch your opponent off guard. I like this guy right here. I think he tries to pop a life gem in like 10 seconds or something, which I don't really understand why you try to do that mid-fight. I mean, I kept the pressure on him, so there's no way he was going to get that spared, a couple seconds to get that off, and even so, he wouldn't have healed in time anyway. I really like dueling here at Hades. I mean, I spend most of my time on the Iron Keep Bridge, though, simply just because of how active it is. You can always get summoned. It doesn't even matter what time of day, morning, noon, night, early morning, you always get summoned there, or find summon signs if you like to summon people. Hades seems to be less active, I guess during the off times, but you can usually still find PvP there. I'm also a big fan of the Dragon Covenant. I don't really like Red Sign, or laying my Red Sign down to be summoned, because while you can get into some good fight clubs, I find that more often than not, especially at the Iron Keep Bridge, I end up being summoned into a 3v1 gank squad of Havel casters, or, Havel ganking caster squads, and it's not really that much fun. I mean, 3v1s can be fun if you spawn in with decent position, so you can retreat into the Iron Keep and try to, pick them off one at a time, but so many times they either leave the door closed, or you spawn on the wrong side of the bridge, and it's just going to be too difficult. I usually just Black Crystal right out of there. So that's why I'm a firm believer in the Dragon Covenant for good old one-on-one PvP. The only thing you have to worry about there is people that will, they'll try to kill you as you spawn with like Firestorm or something, but even that, if people are doing that, they're usually not very good. Oh, I like this right here. I love these kids that do the spin to win move with the halberds. Typically, it's so easy to dodge if you see it coming, and you can pretty much backstab that all the time, and that's a free critical for you. So if you're a halberd user, I'd definitely use that move sparingly. I got matched up with the same kid twice in a row. I heard this bonfire is a good room for PvP, but this is the first time I've ever really tried. I feel kind of bad for this kid. Both times he didn't stand a chance, but good fight. I love this area. The Dragon Shrine and the Dragon Area are, I think, probably the most beautiful areas of the game. I mean, you can see the dragons flying around in the background. It just looks cool as hell. I don't know about you guys, but whenever I see someone in full Havel's armor, I kind of just cringe. I usually expect it to not be a fun fight, just because of the overleveled Havel casters, and Havel seems to be the best armor in the game, so it's usually the top choice for Mega Mulers too. Now, I thought this kid would have had me there, but unfortunately, he spent all his stamina and left himself open to that backstab. And the spin to win move again. Actually, I think he only spun twice there, but there we go. And he hit the railing, but I don't know. I feel like sometimes when you try to get the backstab, it doesn't work. There we go. That's like all this kid knows. He's a helicopter. I seem to run into the same kids whenever I was filming this. This was all filmed in one straight session. God, I love the setup parries. It's pretty easy to do. I mean, sometimes I'll miss it, or sometimes for some reason I get stunned anyway with the shield, but it's pretty easy and predictable. If you can bait your opponent into swinging multiple times, that's pretty much a free critical hit for you. But anyway, as I was saying, this was all filmed last night. I think it was Wednesday? No, today's Wednesday when I am actually editing this and commentating. So it was Tuesday night when I was filming this. This was all filmed in one session. I only lost a few fights. One was against a level 300 Havel Hexer, so I don't really count that one. And actually, I had him down to almost no health when he ran off to heal. So he ended up, I guess, hitting me with a Hex or something like that. I forget. Those do way too much damage as it is. I think that's part of my disdain for magic and miracles and all the spell casting in this game is that if I'm swinging even a greatsword at you and I'm going crazy and you dodge all of them, but you miss one dodge and I clip you with a greatsword, or any sword really, it's not going to take 3/4 of your health. If you're dodging hexes or soul spears or lightning spears and you get clipped by one of them, that's like game ruining there, because that's going to take most of your health. I don't remember if I had a second clip with that kid in it, to be honest, but I fought that kid earlier and he did that same thing. He tries to retreat and I got him with a bow twice. So I think that's kind of funny to just see your opponent backing away and then just one single arrow, like Katniss, Everdeen will, you just nail them right in the face and they're dead. Yeah, fought this kid at least a couple times over the past couple days. I play this on Xbox 360. I don't know if I've mentioned that yet, so I don't know what the PvP community is like on PS3. I know the PC version of the game is coming out shortly, but like I said, I don't know what the if the community for the PS3 is different and how it's different. I have a PS3, but I don't use PSN. I'm a strictly Xbox Live gamer for in terms of online play. I hope my voice doesn't sound funny. I feel like I'm talking kind of deep and I'm sniffling a lot. It's for all my allergy sufferers out there, it's that time again, so probably sounds like I have a cold, but that's just allergies. They are pretty much hell. I've had them since, oh god, since I was little, really. I know, like first grade or second grade maybe, so that's just the worst part of spring and summer for me. So I'm just gonna, just bear with me. I'm gonna do my best. And there's another setup parry for you. They're so easy to do. I'm trying to work on my predictive parrying in my, I think Yami did a video about vulnerability parrying, or baiting people into attacking and then you parry that. I don't know if I'm just fighting the wrong people, but I find it very hard to bait them. Maybe I'm not using a weapon that has a slow enough recovery time, because the drakekeeper sword, obviously, I can swing it and still keep going. I think Yami used the mace, which has a pretty big recovery time, so it lulls people into thinking that, oh, I can get in a quick hit, but really, you just set up the parry. So that's something I definitely want to work on, because predictive parrying and baiting parries look really cool. But for now, the, what's it called? Wow, I completely just had a brain fart, where you block the first hit and then parry the second with the setup parry. Wow, I am tired this morning. That seems to be a great way to practice parrying, so I recommend that for anyone that isn't that good at parrying or wants to become more confident with it. How many times do you run into this type of kid though? The resonant weapon washing pole. It's just one of those cookie cutter builds, and luckily those people will swing multiple times and allow you to parry them. I don't know why that parry missed there, but that kid was out of stamina anyway, so it doesn't really much matter. Alright, this is the last fight here for the video. I remember spawning and then looking around for him. I looked on the other side, and then of course there's the a moving statue, so you know what's coming. I actually expected magic. I was kind of surprised to see a butterfly man wielding a rapier. I believe that's Ricard's because well, Ricard's rapier because of that like 10 stab thrust move thing. Yeah, if you could hit someone with that R2 on the Ricard's rapier, you'll poison them every time, but it seems like it's kind of hard to land. And I love finishing off a fight with a bow, because that's a lot harder to dodge, I think, than just a sword slash. That is going to wrap it up for this session of Dark Souls 2 PvP commentary, so let me know what you guys think in the comment section, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.